Hey, what's up guys? This is Johan, and on this video I'll be showing you guys how I cycle my aquariums. Before we can add any livestock to our aquarium, we first want to make sure our aquarium is cycled. Cycling is simply put the breakdown of ammonia into nitrite and then into less harmful nitrate, and this is called the nitrogen cycle. Ammonia is produced by our fish as they breathe and as they pass waste. The ammonia that is produced is lethal to our fish and our livestock, and the only way to combat this is to have nitrifying bacteria, or as we like to call them, beneficial bacteria. There are three ways of cycling an aquarium and adding the beneficial bacteria into your aquarium. The first is the longest. It takes about 6 to 8 weeks. You first have to get a piece of meat or a piece of shrimp or something and put it into your aquarium and let it rot, and over time the bacteria will form on their own and then break down and start the cycle. You could also start this with some live rock and some live sand. The third way is by using some media from a cycled aquarium, like for example my 75 gallons. These come in, I could just drop this into my tank and that boosts the cycle up, and that takes about a week or so to get the cycle started. The last and the newest way is by using bacteria in a bottle. This is a lot faster and it could be done within 3-4 days, and you also add fish at the same time. So for example, you could use stuff like Spira, Dr. Tim's one and only, and the newest one that I found about is ATM Colony. And how this works is the bacteria actually feed off of the ammonia that the fish produce. So you would add the fish in and then add the bacteria in the bottle at the same time, so the bacteria can actually feed off of all the ammonia that the fish produces. And that cycle usually takes about 3 days, if I'm not mistaken. If you have any experience with the ATM Colony, Spira, or Dr. Tim's, you could link down in comment down in the bottom and let everybody else know how those work for you. I've only used the Spira when starting up an aquarium for the first time, and also I use the Spira to boost my cycle if I'm doing a quarantine or something. So how are we gonna know when our cycle is finished and our aquarium is safe for livestock? Well, simply, you gotta get a test kit. So this is an API test kit. There are many on the market. For example, there's Sulfur, there's Red Sea, there's a few others. But I personally just use this one. It's cheaper and I've been using it for a long time and I've just been consistent with it. I've also used Sulfur and I find for the way I test, they both work the same. So the main point of this is to make sure that you have zero nitrate, zero ammonia, which should look yellow in your test kits. And then your nitrite should be blue, and your nitrate, it could be yellow or it could be orange or a little bit red. That doesn't really matter as long as these two are blue for the nitrite and then the ammonia is yellow. So I'll show you this test next. Besides test kits, there's one other telltale sign that will show that your cycle is complete. And if you could see in these clips, you could see some brown algae looking stuff on the glass and also on the rock. This is called diatoms, and a diatom bloom usually means that the life in your aquarium is beginning to start and your bacteria is beginning to break down any ammonia, and your nitrogen cycle usually is complete at this point in time. So let's go ahead into the test kits. Alright, so let's start with how we test our water. So if we look at our chart right here, you'll see there are 4 on the API test kit. This is the pH. We're not going to be testing this today. We're going to test the ammonia, nitrite, and the nitrate. So in the beginning of your cycle, you will see a spike in the ammonia. So it will go up to maybe 8.0. So that means your test should show green. And then after, it will start to fade out and go yellow. After this, you will see a spike in the nitrite. And then you see it probably go to either purple or a bright purple, a lighter purple and then like a violet color. And then it will fade out as you test weekly. It's gonna go down to the light blue and it should remain light blue. And then finally, you're gonna see the nitrite go from yellow and then raise up as your nitrite and your ammonia breaks down and turns into the nitrate. All right, so let's start with the test. Alright, so we have 3 test kits, ammonia, nitrite, and nitrate. We also have some tank water, and I like to use a syringe. These don't come with the test kit, but I bought this separately. You can probably find this at your hardware store or like Michael's or something.
And then you have your test valves. You always want to make sure you keep these clean. I wash these in hot water before and after each use, just to make sure that there's no extra leftovers from any test previously. You could boil them as well, but this is thin glass, so I probably wouldn't boil these. So what you want to do is you just draw up some of your tank water and then put about 5 mils in each jar. I would suggest you rinse these off in tank water after you wash these out. So after you wash it out in some tap water or boiling water, whatever you want to do, I would always rinse them out in some tank water so it doesn't have any residue of the your water that you used to wash it out. So once you have 5 mils each one, you could do it separately. I'm just doing them all together. We're gonna start with the ammonia. We're gonna add, you can shake them if you want to, just to make sure everything's mixed. You don't need to shake these, but you want to also make sure that your expiration dates are ahead so that you're not using any expired test kits. So these are 2021, so we should be good on these ones. So the ammonia test kit, it's 8 drops.
3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. Then 8 drops of vial number 2. This is the process. 1, 2, 3, 4.
Then you put your cap back on, and then you just do this. And let's set that aside. And then this is the nitrite. So we set the ammonia aside for a little bit because you have to wait 5 minutes after each test so that the solution could settle and the test could read out. So let's go back now. It's 1, 2, 3, 4, and only 5 of this one. 5 of the nitrite. Put your cap on and you do the same. Mix the solution in the water. And then you set that aside. Now the nitrate, is a little bit different. You have to put 10 drops of this, of the first solution. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. And also, whilst you're doing this, you want to make sure it's an actual drop and not a bubble and pops. You want to make sure it's actual 10 drops. Then this one you cap and then you mix for about 30 seconds. Then this one you have to shake it rapidly for 30 seconds. Once you're done shaking it for 30 seconds, that basically mixes the solution that's in here. I'm not sure why you do this, but it's like this with API and I think sulfur as well, and one other test. Only one thing I do hate about using the nitrate test kit with API, if you mix it the way they say, it always leaves some that comes out, but that's usually okay. And then from there you just make sure you add 10 more drops of this.
1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. Then you have 10 drops. And then you mix it. And then set aside for 5 minutes.
Alright, so 5 minutes has passed and now we're ready to compare our chart with our actual test. So one of the important things about this is lighting. Wherever you do your test, you want to make sure it's properly lit, and I would always say see if you could do it under any white lights, for example any T8 fluorescent lights, or the best would be under sunlight, some kind of natural light. But if you're gonna do that, you have to make sure you remain consistent with your test throughout. I prefer using my camera lights or just more my LED camera lights. It's a white tone. So once I switch off this other camera light, a tungsten light, you will see the difference. For example, watch my hands, and you see the difference in my hands. So this is the color that I use. It's white, and there's no other undertone on it. So let's look at our first one, ammonia. So you can see there is a little bit of a green tint, so the ammonia is just starting to drop off, but this is just about ready to go. So it's right in between, so I would say it's about 0.05 or 0.01 or something like that. So it's just about ready to go. Now the reason I say it should be safe is because of the nitrite test. Usually when the ammonia drops off into this area right here, the nitrite is usually purple. So since it's blue like this, I know the aquarium should be safe for me to add any fish or any livestock. And then now this one, this is the nitrate, and you can see that the nitrate has raised up, and this is what really makes me know that it's safe enough for me to add a fish. And then the rest of the ammonia that's in here is going to be eaten up by the bacteria. So it's about, I would say, 0.5 or right in between 5 and 10. So maybe about 7 parts per million in the nitrate. And the camera looks more like 10 or 20, but on the light it looks like 7ish. So that's what I was saying. You gotta make sure you're under the right light.
Once we verified that our cycle is complete, it depends on what cycle method you use. If you use the first method where we let it self-cycle, then we could do a first water change and then also add some cleanup crews. If we use our second one where we use pre-filtered pre-cycle media, I personally like to add some cleanup crews then. And if you use the third one, you already have fish in, so you could start adding your cleanup crew either before or whenever the cycle starts. Alright guys, that pretty much wraps it up for this video. This video is a basic understanding of the nitrogen cycle. I could definitely go a lot deeper, get into different types of bacteria and whatnot, but this just shows how I cycle my aquariums. Some of the things I did mention may vary from aquarium to aquarium. For example, my 75-gallon tank, I did use the same pre-cycle media, but it took it a lot longer than it takes 20-gallon nano to cycle, for example. Also, I don't really have so much experience with any of the pre-mentioned bacteria in the bottles. I did have with Spira, but I haven't used the Dr. Tim's and I haven't used the ATM Colony. But if any of you guys have any experience with those, also comment down in the bottom below. And if I did miss anything that's important, also comment down below so that we can all help each other out. All right, guys, I'll see you guys in the next one.